All right. Okay.
Do you want me to take my shirt off and lie down so you can explain, or no?
Sure. You want to show your
No, I don't
chest
care.
off? Okay. Whatever. I don't care who it is. But welcome, everyone. How we doing? What day is this for you guys?
Sunday?
I know. In the course.
This is day
10? Okay, cool. And you all look like you're doing really great.
They are.
You know, by the time we get to 10, there's usually about 20% of that are limping, emotionally or physically.
We've lost 3, so.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay. All right, so here we go. Let's talk about becoming more heart smart. I am going to read a little bit off of here because I want to stick right to it. He's only giving me so long here, and he's kicking my butt out.
Yeah, you got 30 minutes.
Okay, so let's first understand something. Who's responsible for your heart on a physical and emotional level? Okay, then why do you keep on asking everybody to fill up your heart? And why is everybody responsible for you having a great emotional life? It's never going to work. It's never going to work. I'm going to tell you, if I haven't learned anything this year, I know that I have to be totally responsible for me. I know that anything that I hold to in possession that I really honor and respect, I'm not letting anybody touch it. And that would be my heart, and that would be my mind. Okay, because for most people, you're always going to have a landmine, even if you took this course. Because you know what, we're never going to be able to reach you. We're not going to be. Understand something. You know, the greatest thing for me in my life is that I don't fit in. And I'm never going to fit in. Ever am I going to fit in. You know, I remember something when I was younger. You know what my parents used to say? Daryl, try to
Fit in.
Okay, I'm not fitting into anybody's clothes. I'm not fitting into anybody's belief systems. I'm not fitting into anything. I'm here for my adventure, and that's it. And that's the first thing you have to understand. And most of you, and please do not take this wrong, but unless you're going to go hardcore, you know, like really get deep into our whole life coach, our Braveheart Circle courses, get really into this, you're never going to know it. I don't care what your belief is, what your religion is. If you don't have total love, honor, and respect for yourself, you get ready for a bumpy ride, baby, and then you get down on your knees and you beg God, please. Because that's what's going to continue to happen. I'm not telling you to give up your faith. I'm not telling you to give up anything. I'm trying to tell you, why can't you love, honor, and respect yourself completely? If you were to do that, you would never have heart problems. So we know that heart problems are still the major killer on this planet. And we know right now that heart problems have gone through the roof since our last little adventure escapade. Okay, and we're going to talk about that today. And then I'm going to show what I would do to do a heart release. And Sage, do I get a half hour tomorrow? I would like to show that most tinnitus, hearing problems are caused because the person is in a sympathetic fight-fright state. And I want to show you guys, and I'm going to show everybody also online, how to go in and release, okay, the vagus nerve.
It's our last day tomorrow's of full work day, so if we can start at 7:40, you can have
Okay, then 7:30 we'll go live if you want to see it. If you don't want to see it, go on Facebook or TikTok
come in and he can come
or
in.
something like that. 7:30 I go live. So I'll be in here at 20 after 7 tomorrow Central Time. And I'm going to show you guys how, okay? And understand something to do it. You know what? I told you before, guys. You know, if the wall is made out of butter, it's going to melt. If it's made out of cement, you know, you're going to have to go deep enough, and you're going to have to find the cracks in there. And that's what this work is all about, to lovingly find the cracks, find the weak point, okay, or untie the knot. You get that now? Okay, so let's go back to the heart. First of all, you've all been programmed. We've been programmed for generations to get our love from someone else. Yes or no? Well, why do you think you've been divorced? Why do you think you have all the breakups? Why do you think you keep having the same fight every week about the same thing? Because you've made somebody responsible for filling up your heart instead of being thankful, and knowing that it's you that has to fill up your heart. I do not demand any love from Sage. I love Sage with all my heart. But if something were to happen to Sage or somebody in your family, you'd all be devastated. I am not going to let something happen to me that happens to someone else, even if it's all about suffering. Everybody, we all have the suffering thing. So if this happens to Sage, I suffer this much. If this happens to Sage, I suffer this much. Are you getting me? That's how you live. Welcome to your world. Hell on wheels. I'm not telling you that I would not feel or I would not cry. I didn't say that. I just told you I'm not going to stay there and put the limits of suffering that you guys run off of, because that's why you're going to remain sick. That's why you're going to remain stiff. That's why you're going to remain exhausted. There is nobody responsible for love in your life except yourself. You came in here as a light energy, electrical magnetic being that's beyond love. Don't talk to me about love. I don't want to hear about it. I want to hear about self-love and self-care. That's the only thing I want to hear about. Don't tell me how much you love me. I don't want anybody following me. I don't want anybody loving me. I want that person to take that energy and recycle it into themselves, because as soon as you totally, respectively love yourself, you stopped hurting your family. Hurt people hurt people. And the hurt people are the people that can't get the love that they thought that they were supposed to get by that person that loved them all their life, and now they're pulling back because they're sick or they're tired, or it's like, I can't keep filling up your tank because mine is empty. Understand something right now. Husband and wife relationships, don't want them. Don't care about them. Don't need them. Get me two spirit beings together, okay? Oh, you may not know this, but the systems came together, and I'm going to say what, don't want to get into it, 5,000 years ago to pull man and woman apart. If you came together as spirit beings, all of us, and there was no branding, Okay, so you're responsible I will never have a heart problem. My father had a triple bypass heart surgery, okay? All right, there was heart problems through my whole family. Heart and cancer, that's it, tons of it. I'm never going to have cancer, and I'm never going to have a heart problem. I don't have to knock on wood or anything else, because I know who I am. I don't care if anybody loves me, and I don't care if anybody hates me. I don't want people to hate me. It would be nice if everybody just loved themselves and said hello to me. That's it. Thank you. Here's the deal. The heart is the recorder of all your relationships. So just look at your relationships. If you can't stand being with yourself, that you need a radio on, or you got to be eating all the time, or you got to call someone, or you got to get on Facebook or TikTok, or you got to keep yourself busy. He's always in the garage trying to keep busy. I'm always trying to keep busy. You have no love for yourself. Don't tell me what love is, because understand something. Everybody that comes to me, you know, every woman says, oh, I know what love is. No, you know what loving your family is. You know what loving and caring for people is, and that's why you're drained. It doesn't take more than an hour, and they go, you're right, I don't know what self-love is. And that's where they're going to win. There would be no tyrants if there was no slaves, and you are a slave to love, because you are unworthy to love. Who in the hell would want to love you? Seriously. Isn't that the way we're taught? Who would want to love you? So now if we can make you desperate for love, you'll be desperate for everything. So there's your heart disease. That's why it's the main killer. Okay, so let's talk about a little bit more science here. Let's talk about a heart attack. We're going to talk about 3 heart situations, okay? You want to go back and watch this. You want to go back and write this down. This is really important. This is your homework. I'm just sharing it with a few platforms right now because they should know it too. Because you've all been lied to. Heart attack. Think of plumbing. You cannot have a heart attack unless you have a plumbing problem. Okay? Think of plumbing. When you think heart attack, you are talking obstruction. And it may be severe, a severe constriction or spasm to shut down the rest of your blood supply. Okay, now, so when we think of heart attack, you need to think of this. You need to think of this. Making your blood acidic, but it can't become acidic because if it drops in pH just a little, you go into a coma or you die. Which one do you want? So instead of doing that, your body is pulling calcium ions and calcium from the walls of the arteries. Trust me, it's stored in there naturally. Think about it, guys. Your body's not stupid. When you have a fight, fright, fear response, your pH drops, your oxygen drops, your blood gets stickier. So calcium comes in, okay, and what it does, it buffers the blood to keep it at a pH so it doesn't get sticky, doesn't lose its oxygen. Because we know that Dr. Otto Warburg received the Nobel Prize twice for discovering that the cause of cancer is lack of oxygen. We're not going to get into that. So now we're pulling calcium from the arteries, but we're also pulling it from the bones closest to the problem, wherever that is in the body. So if it's a heart problem, you're pulling it from your sternum, you're pulling it from your ribs and your clavicle. Okay? All right? So that's why. People don't fall down and break bones. Their bones break and they fall down. But people aren't going to be told that. Now, so everybody's getting Swiss cheese for bones because the calcium's being pulled out. That's called osteopenia, osteoporosis. Now let's get back to our story. So now if I've got calcium coming in, I've got too much calcium coming into the blood, okay, because you'll find that with a cancer patient, right? With a cancer patient, the last ditch effort is what? The body pulls tons of calcium into the blood, and guess what? Doctors will go, oh my God, you've got hypercalcemia. We got to stop this. That's the last ditch effort of trying to get calcium to the cancer site to try to restore the pH. I can be, if somebody wants to challenge me on this, feel free. So now we've got all this calcium in the blood. When we become acidic, what else do we have? Cholesterol. Cholesterol is like candle wax. So the cholesterol and the calcium combine, and now we get what? Plaque on the walls. Now, it's okay to have cholesterol go into the cracks of the arteries, but when you have a little piece of calcium go into the crack of the arteries, it actually could cut. It could actually cut the arterial wall and create a blood clot that then causes a heart attack. Most heart attacks are caused because of blood clots, not because of the obstruction. You can get a stroke because of that. Just think about what I'm telling you. Okay, let's talk about cardiomyopathy. So cardio means what? Heart. My means muscle. Pathy, disease. Okay, so now what we've got, okay, in the heart is lots of inflammation. Now why would you have inflammation? My heart's broke, my heart's in pieces, my heart's empty. My heart hurts. Understand something right now. You can get 10 people eating all the same diet, a real inflammatory, crappy diet. And then we're going to go and we're going to then look at the emotional health of everyone, and guess who's got the heart disease? Who's got the heart disease? The one that's emotionally up and down, the one that makes everybody else responsible for filling up their heart. You hurt me. You don't love me anymore. Okay? Have you never ever, okay, I know that you women never do this, hold out on your love on your man. Everybody in here plays love ransom. You should go to jail for that. You're actually killing the other person and yourself. You want to mess around with the heart? You think you're really powerful and you can just hold off on love making or the hug or the kiss or the, no, let's start right here, okay? You don't need to forgive anyone because you can't forgive people because people don't change. Just know I don't want you to keep doing this or we can't have a relationship. I'm not going to forgive you because if I forgive you and then you do it again, I'm going to be pissed off and that'll hurt my heart. Are you with me? Okay, so let me just go back to this. So cardiomyopathy, heart muscle disease, that's inflammation, scar tissue problems, and calcification. That's what it is, okay? This is a disease or malfunction of the muscle of the heart. Cardio, again, means heart. Myo means muscle. And disease, that's what it is. Now, you ready for this? We know all three of these conditions we can help. I'm going to go into that a little bit. There is nobody like us, and this is the part where they come after me. But there's nobody that goes in and uses their elbow and takes apart the fist that's wrapped around the heart, that gets rid of the feeders, the roots that are coming. Have you guys felt the roots that come off the heart that are actually created by the fist, the scar tissue, and the calcification that's been pulled from your ribs and your clavicle and your sternum? You're going to feel it because you create a cement wall, a scar tissue fist wall. This is all to protect your broken heart because I don't want to love anymore because I get hurt. Nobody can fill up your heart your whole life. Nobody can do that. It's impossible. The more needy you are, the more heart problems that you're going to have. Okay, here's the last one. Going to love this one. Cardiac arrest. This is the electrical component of the heart where the electrical system misfires or has a malfunction. This is the most frightening of all because it's not due to the plumbing and it's not due to the heart muscle complication. This is where the invisible destroys the physical. We are seeing sudden death in the young when it comes to electrical problems. Okay, where was I? And most are refusing to see, but believe me, it starts with V. Okay, which is being called myocarditis. So when people tell you they've had a heart attack, think plumbing. Okay? When people tell you that they have a cardiac arrest, okay, think of a malfunction of the electrical system. All right. So anyways, they're bombarding us with blue light. We had 2G, 3G, 4G, 5G. We now have 6G. It's already out in a lot of cities. Okay, so the reality is that you don't have to believe it, but there's these things that people say that are in the body, and when they turn on the 5G, they turn on them. And there's your cardiac arrest. Everything is about frequency. We are light energy, electrical magnetic frequency beings. And guess what? The war today is the invisible. What the invisible? It's fear. Go watch the news and crap your pants. That's why, we've got Depends for adults. So the reality is this. Go watch the news, crap your pants, go ahead, and most of this stuff never happens. It never involves you. Okay, the last time that your life was ever really, truly threatened, you can't even remember. When's the last time you were going to die or someone was going to kill you? So you made it up. So you're destroying your heart. Go ahead and just do it. Go ahead and play around with these toxic, low parasitical media. Go ahead and do it. Just play around. Or listen to the BS from your family. Okay, dysfunctional belief systems about what's really going on. You're not just creating programs in your mind that'll create a landmine. You're destroying your heart. Because every time that you get emotional and you cannot process the emotion, then you have to store it. And if it's got to do directly with love, it's going to be in your heart, which is going to cause heart problems. And if it's got to do with other things like hate, where does that go? Hate is cancer. Anger is liver problems, gallbladder problems. I don't want to go into all of that, but all I'm going to say this is now the war is invisible. Man, we don't need to keep destroying buildings and stuff. We just have to go and attack them on an invisible level. And understand something, if you were to totally believe in self-love and self-care, your family would not be sick. You would be the guiding light. Do you see how hard you struggle loving yourself? I mean, there's nothing more important than that. That's the only way you're going to get yourself off the hook and also become not aggressive. Aggressive people are people that are needy of love because you can't live without love. And if you're not going to be filling up your own tank, you're not going to be tankful. So you better do it all the time. And understand something. I already said this, okay? I will never fit in. The majority's leaving the planet. Does anybody not know that? That they're leaving? They're leaving. When are you going to protect yourself? Oh my God! I just got a call. I'm hurt. Really? Wow. 3:15. Yeah, you're right. You're right on time. You're all running programs. Okay. Listen. If something happens to a family member, I'm going to take massive personal action on whatever I can do to help. I'm not going to sit there and crumble like a building that just got blew up. How much does it take for you to lose your stuff? Just know you're destroying your heart, and you're doing it because of your mind that you don't own. And that's it right there. You know, people don't have to believe in me at all, like nobody. But I'm probably going to keep talking. You know, there might be someone out there, okay? I'm just trying to tell you it doesn't matter to me. Because remember something, find your gift, find your passion, and guess what? Don't think you're going to fit in. If you're being authentic to yourself and authentic to that which created you, you're never going to fit in. So if you fit in, then you're full of BS. And I mean the other BS, not belief systems. I mean the other BS, the stinky kind. Because understand something. To fit in, you get done in. I'm not going to fit in. I'm not going to argue with anyone either. I'm not going to fight with anyone. All right? Everybody can be right, okay? I want to remain happy. And understand, I've done this for myself, and it works. I think you guys see how much we're doing here in a day. We got this. There's no crumbling, no crying, no me. Stop it. The day that you totally love and honor and respect your heart by filling your heart up with love from yourself. That's why in the morning it's called the hour of power. That's the first hour of the day is the hour of power. Be with your God, your creator. Do your exercises, breathe, love your vehicle. You know, the last hour of the day, what are you doing with it? Well, you'll know. Because it'll show. It'll show. Let's have somebody here. And we'll work on the heart. Okay. Okay, the first thing is when we go to do a heart release, we're always going to start here at the bottom of the sternum. Okay? And we're always going to do mapping. You're always smart to go in, all right, and map the area. So you don't have to go and map the whole area. I'm just going to map right here, okay, at the bottom of her sternum, and I'm going to just map this area. That's all I'm going to do at the beginning. Now, believe it or not, you might get to and work on a client that when you want to do a heart release, you may not make it that day. You do not get it in your head that this is my goal to get there. You get it in your head first, okay, that we're going to go in and we're going to release right here. And guess what? Do you know how many people have calcified, crystallized? How many people have their the stomach valve actually popping up a little bit above the diaphragm? And when you totally have it popping up, that's called a hiatal hernia. And you do know that you can reverse a hiatal hernia on someone, and it will take you no more than 5 minutes. There's no surgery that can do that. 5 minutes, I can prove it. Well, don't I prove it all the time? Okay, so we're going to go in here. We're going to work at the bottom here. Now, remember, this is also the solar plexus. So there's many reasons why we shut this off, right? You'll shut this off when it's just not worth shining your light anymore because you're unworthy or because you didn't fit in. You're going to turn the light off, and now you're no longer a care bear. You're not caring for yourself. Okay? So now we're going to get in here, and we're going to use our elbow, and we're going to feel if it's scar tissue, crystallization, or calcification. And you can tell the difference. A stone is a stone. Scar tissue feels like rope. You can find in there and start pulling that apart to get the blood supply, the lymph, and the energy in there to restore it instantly. And if it's calcium, you're using the other bone, you're using the rib cage or you're using bone to take the calcium that's been pulled out to actually shave it. And understand, people go, well, where's it going to go? Well, guess what? If you're living the proper lifestyle, it's going to go back into the bone. And if it isn't, you're not going to have a heart attack from it or a seizure from it because it stays in this area unless it gets taken up by the bone. Fastest way is to use calcium ion therapy, right? Merigen. It'll just take it right in. Nothing else to do it. So we're going to go in there, get rid of the crystallization, get rid of the scar tissue issue. But you know what? We might only get to here, and always when we come up here, okay, you can still see it, okay, with Debbie. Can we get a close-up here, please? Where's the camera people? I'd like them to stay there if they could. They should be staying at the camera. Thank you. Appreciate it. stay at the camera if you could. All right. Okay. So if we take a look here, okay, look at this. Here, here. So we've got about a quarter to a half-inch difference. Are you left-handed? Right. Then why is your left higher? Because Debbie has walled off her heart a long time ago. So I'm going to tell you right now, I know what her personality's like, and we would need to do 3 minimum, 5 heart treatments just to release all this, because there was a time in her life where she had to wall off her heart. Now, what happens if you don't get rid of those things that no longer serve you? Huh? They destroy you. They destroy you. So at one time, she had to wall it off. I mean, get a close-up. You can see it. You can see it, right? I mean, it's obvious. So this should be, if this is the dominant, then it should be higher, but it's not higher. So what we would do is go in here first, go in here and release. There's not one person that didn't have stomach problems. Why? Because they made us swallow, and please, I know it's Sunday, they made us swallow so much bullshit that we could not digest. You know what? I feel sick to my stomach. What'd you eat? Nothing. I feel nauseous. Well, that's where therapeutic vomiting comes in, because your family, your friends, the media, the government, everybody's talking out of their butt, aren't they? They don't even know what they're talking about. And most people, why don't you listen to most people? Not in this class, but when you go home. Most of it is kind of negative. They're negative, but they're trying to be positive. Right? Yeah, I'm absolutely right. Okay, so now we're going to come up here. We're going to loosen the whole sternum. We're going to go in between every rib and get rid of the crystallization in the scar tissue here, because this would be the joint of the ribs right here where the sternum is. You got to clean this up. When you go in here and do this, I'm going to tell you that person's going to feel, a lot of people will have an emotional release, right? Okay? I've swallowed so much crap in my life. So, you know, if you work on an area, it's called issues in your tissues. It's stored. So we're going to release this. We're going to come up through the sternum. We're going to loosen up the sternum, go in between each of the ribs, loosen this up. You'll find it, there won't be so much work here. You come over here, look at this, it goes right up. So we're going to have a lot more work in here, go in between, release it. Then we're going to come up here, and I guarantee you, you'll find a root with her, all the way down into the stomach. And it may come down and wrap itself around her breast if she wore a wire bra. Okay, she was only picking up every phone call. All right? So then we're going to come up here, and then we're going to go, what I like to call this is the God spot. There's a spot right here. And when you get in there, it's going to burn, and that's because we shut that off a long time ago. That was the trigger to completely feel and be open. I mean, I could go right to it, but then I would only be proving I'm right, and it would burn, and there would be no sense. So when you go to do this, your goal is not to finish. Your goal is to always be in touch with the patient, you know, the client, to connect to their breathing, connect to them. Do you see how close we work all the time? We are connected, okay? All right, you know, don't do your part and stand 6 feet away from your patient, client, and think you're going to get them well. You need to be up front and center. You need to be connected to their breath. You need to work with them. I don't know if you noticed, but when I do this work and I do it fairly deep on people, I know when to stop. I know when to go through and just do it and then stop. And usually what people will do is go, okay. It's usually that one more little thing that will give them the breakthrough, because the subconscious rules our whole life. So your subconscious is going to rule your whole life for the rest of your life until you realize that 90% of your brain is your subconscious. You only live in the present moment 2% of the day. You're lucky if it's 5. I've worked on this for over 25 years. I'm in my present day 95% of the day. You'll recall what you say. You'll recall what you do. Okay? You won't have to justify yourself to anyone. It'll be okay to not fit in. Wouldn't it be great to not fit in? All right, so We're going to come up here, and then we're going to work this whole area. And like I said, you know what? You're lucky if it's 3 treatments, but it's usually 5 or more. And understand something, and I want you to get this. There's not one person that comes to you that isn't of the age of in their early 20s that doesn't need 10 hours done on all their major joints and pelvic area, abdomen, heart, joints of the body. There's, now, what did I say? How many hours? 10. 10 for 20. Huh. It's 15 for 30 years old, okay? And then depending on the condition of somebody, by the time that you get to 40, you're looking at 20 hours. 20 hours of work. See, I want you to get this. You're awake now. The rest of the world will not be. There's not one person that should be out there limping on an emotional or physical level if we really loved each other. We don't love each other. We kill each other. We poison each other. We hurt each other. And understand, you will get attacked if you do not fit in. But the attack shouldn't bother you because they'll just look for someone else when they can't knock your wall down. But you need to get this, okay? The world is never going to change. The world will mainly be filled with victims, and I'm not putting people down. But tell me, is the world mainly of victims? How about this? 86 to 92% of the population has an autoimmune disease, and they don't think they're sick. This is what's going to continue. It's not going to change. You have a choice. Do you want to live the greatest adventure of your life? Okay? Or do you want to live everybody else's adventure and fit in? You need to become heart smart. And whenever you get tested by your family or the world, just stand there with, they won't even know what you're doing. And just put your hand on your heart. And if you put your hand on your heart, you are not going to defend yourself verbally. You're not going to attack them. Take a lion heart breath and go, leave it with me, I'll get back to you. I don't care if they think they're the authority of all authorities. Do you understand? Start living in your beautiful heart spot. Call that the God spot. And that's where you have the power to not have to speak or to do what anybody says, and you'll do it when you're ready. You know, when we were younger, especially Sage, he'd wait until I was really busy on the phone with 2 phone calls at once, and then he'd go, hey, Dad, going out to smoke pot all night, you know. No, I'm kidding, but I'm just trying to relay to you that that's the world. The world wants what it wants, and it'll try to game you. You know, I was talking to one of our master practitioners today, and I just went, hey, you know, the one thing I've been taught this year is everybody brings their personality to the game. So you better decide first and foremost, not the credentials of someone when they come to work for you, but their personality, because that's going to become your reality. And then guess what? Now you've got a 3-ring circus. So whether you're talking about marrying someone, going out with someone, or going to business with someone, or doing something with someone, anything, just say, do I admire this person's personality? It's really important. And you probably will if their heart's smart, if they can stand in their own power. Okay? And that's where we need to be. So if you don't want heartache, you don't want heartbreak, on an emotional or physical level, all you had to do was love yourself. And then everybody's going to say to me, you know, God is unconditional love. And then I'll say, well, why aren't you practicing that for yourself and everyone else? We are so obsessed with killing and hating on this planet. And that's because we were programmed by these psychos. See? So what you do is you program the majority, okay, to attack themselves and each other, to eat crap, and then we blame it all on them. And then we say it's climate change or something, right? The reality is the stories are never going to stop. If we had just a couple of brain cells, we could track back for 500 years, 500 years, 500 years, 500 years, and guess what we'd find out? They've been telling the same BS story all their life. So tomorrow morning, I will be here at 7:30, and I'll show you how
Parasympathetic.
to release the vagus nerve.
Gotta get going, man.
And we got to get going.
So let's do this.
And let's do this. It's done.
But you gotta do it now.
I'm not going to, you want me to do, I'm not going to do it on her. No, just talk about it.
You have to do a bit of a demo for this.
Okay, all right, I'll do a bit of a demo. He's my boss. So when I start, I always start at the floating ribs. Go easy, go in on the side, and right away she feels it. I'm going so light. You don't have to go deep at all. And she feels all the crunches. There's a ton of crunches just laying right. You know when you go to eat ribs, well, I'm just working on that little bit of meat there. Okay? But that isn't meat, it's scar tissue and crystallization. So you're going to have more and more of that depending on how well you stomach yourself and this world. How well you food combine, how well you chew your food, right? And how you're even eating real food. Pretty clean, but you feel all the connections, right? And cracking. Okay, so it's just tons of cracking. So that could be crystallization more than anything. It's not calcification. Okay, this is crystallization and just scar tissue. You'll know when you hit calcium deposit. So you're going to come in here, you're going to clean all this. She doesn't have a hiatal problem, okay? She doesn't have like acid spewing up, okay? All right, but if you could feel it, you'll feel a hook here, a knot, and that's what you need to go around, work around it, like surround it, find the weak points, loosen it up, and then you put your elbow right here, and you just go 1, 2, 3, and then you, and guess what? It'll only last, it'll be a burning. She might have went, ah! And that's it. See, what happens is the diaphragm's here, stomach valve is here, okay? What happens is we push down on our diaphragm. Everybody with a hiatal hernia, it wasn't because they moved the couch for the wife, okay? It's because they were on the toilet pushing their diaphragm down to have a bowel movement without knowing it. You don't even think about it anymore. You don't think about anything anymore. Once you've done something long enough and strong enough, you don't think about it, you just do it. That's why people say, hey, did you see how you talk to me? Well, I talk like this all the time. Yeah, that's the problem. Okay, so when you push down on the diaphragm to try to get this bowel movement out, okay, after a while, okay, the valve's going to pop up above the diaphragm. So now you've got acid spewing into here. Not hydrochloric acid that digests your food, because now you're going to have less of that. You're just going to have the acid. You will have hydrochloric acid come up as well. But you're going to have the acid because you were unable to process stuff with your heart. You couldn't stomach it. And that's why you get nauseous all the time, because you need to be therapeutic vomiting. See how the domino effect, how this is real healing? Okay, now, so when that comes about here, now she's going to have acid, and she's going to get what? Throat cancer. She's going to have heart problems because of all the acid. Okay? She's going to have breathing problems because of all the acid. It's going to maybe get into her lungs. So this is something you don't fool with. And once you screw this up, okay, you don't digest properly anymore. You go ahead and take your antacids. You go ahead and you get your surgery or do whatever you want to do, but that creates more scar tissue. And that's the problem. So then when you come up, you're going to come like I said. Let's see here. Oh yeah, it's nice and thick. So right here at the edge of the sternum in the ribs, it's nice and thick. So that's going to take me a while to pull those fibers apart. And then go in here right into the intercostals where it comes up against the sternum. You want to clean that nothing fanny out. Believe it or not, if you clean out right here where the intercostal muscles meet the sternum, here on both sides, they're going to go, oh my God, wow, I can breathe better just by doing this area. Remember something, if this can move just even 1/16 of an inch more, you know the Nobody goes in and cleans up the intercostals that are beef jerky. No, we're not going to touch anyone. We're just going to drug you or we'll just send you for more tests. What a bunch of BS. Okay, so we're going to come up, we're going to loosen up the sternum. See over here. Oh yeah, see this is all calcified. Look at this. Okay, right here, she's got a calcium this big. Guess what that's from? You bought a wire bra for a long time. And there it is right there. That's where the wire bra is. And guess what? When the wire, first of all, the wire gets every telephone call, every microwave frequency going. Did you know that? If you were to attach that wire to something, you're going to get that electrical charge go there. Did you know that? So even your body is destroying your breath. And this is the best way to get started. This place calcium and even worse thing. So right here you've got a calcium deposit that needs to be taken down. Look at it. See? Can you see? Look at this. How big that is. It's all the way up. Okay, all scar tissue here. Okay, right here. Right here, it's that thick of scar tissue and that deep. So there's the root I said, and this is going to follow. I'll follow it all the way up to the heart. Lots of work in here. First of all, I tell you right now, first thing, there's so much scar tissue in here. First thing I would do before a heart release is I would go in here and I would go in and I would do all the intercostals muscles in between the ribs and loosen that all up. If I untie things on this side, would that help it in the middle? If I untie everything on the outside, would that help it in the middle? Yes. That's the deal. Okay, so with her I would do that because she's really jammed up. So then I would come up, open up the sternum. You're going all different directions. Just feel it out, take your time. Okay, it's totally calcified right here. This rib can hardly even tell where it starts and ends. So somebody's had some heart challenges, right? Well, why would we have so much calcification right here? Where's the heart? Right here. Okay, the human body is intelligent. The human body is intelligent. The human body is logical, okay? But the human mind is not. At all. People are not logical. Do not expect when you go out there and you start your practice, do not, under your breath, call anybody stupid or not intelligent, because they are. You can only be as intelligent as the force feeding they did to them. That's all. People are not stupid. There's a genius in everyone. So when you start working with people, you're going to go, that's so obvious. Oh, really? Why don't you just remember where you were before you took this course? And never ever judge anyone. Observe them and then ask yourself, how can I outsmart these dysfunctional beliefs that this person has? How can I outsmart those beliefs to make them see that they're worthy of healing and loving? That's all you're doing. And that, yes, you might have to spend some money, spend some time. You might have to take massive personal action if you want to save yourself. So we're going to work up. Okay. All of this is in lockdown. So I'm going to tell you right now, there's nothing wrong with that. You got to make sure that you make a decision in your life to not allow people to get close to you because you want to get close to yourself, not because you don't want them close to you. If you get closer to yourself and spend more time with yourself, you won't be relying on other people so much, right? But if you have to rely on other people, right, then you'll build a wall to protect yourself. You won't need a wall of scar tissue and calcium and crystallization around there. Understand, there would be no heart surgery. There would be no heart surgery if you were the master of emotional. And if you knew that loving yourself, okay, the hour of power in the morning, really fill up your heart. No matter what happens today. If I hit a bump, I'm going to slow down. I'm going to breathe. If I have to make a quick right-hand turn, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to put my day in cement and say that's how it has to go. And when you start, you're going to go, I will love the world unconditionally, and I will demand nothing from the world. And I will give my gift, whatever that is, your passion, your purpose, without expecting. Okay, I got to tell you something. There's times in my life where I've spent so much time, so much energy, and that person did not reciprocate. I learned a big lesson. And then guess what? A week, two later, somebody comes and just gifts me. I don't even know this person. They just bless me. That's how life works. So it doesn't matter what people try to do to you, okay? All right? You're just not hanging out with the right people, and you're always going to be challenged. So go ahead and fit in, and you'll get done in. Don't fit in, and you will have a struggle, but just remember, okay, they will move on. People will continually move on to where they can find that they can actually be parasites and suck off of people. And that's the deal. And I'm not telling you I'm perfect. I'm not perfect. Every day I make mistakes, and I'm going to continually make mistakes. But I'm not scared to make mistakes. And I'm not scared to know that I have a lot of growing to do, okay? But this is all about the heart, guys. It's all about this. I mean, the heart is the only muscle that doesn't get cancer, okay? It cannot hold hate well. It can only wall itself off. You have to understand that every type of heart problem is because you've been trying to wall yourself off and protect your heart. And you know what? You keep picking the wrong lovers. You keep picking the wrong vibration. But guess what? You're not picking them from your heart. You're picking them from your head. And you're picking the same people that your parents did. You're picking the same people that you picked all the way through your life. And until you change here, okay, all right, and until you fill up here and stop pretending this is some kind of gas tank that the world needs to fill, okay, you'll never be fulfilled. Thanks for joining me. I'll be back 7:30 tomorrow morning.